Have you ever felt like, you're just going through the motions, like stuck in a job that just feels soul-crushing, and you're just endlessly scrolling on Sunday night, dreading Monday morning?
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Definitely not.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
So you requested a deep dive into Ikigai.
Yes.
This Japanese concept that everyone's been raving about. And honestly, after going through all the research, I get why it's resonating with so many people.
Mm-hmm.
It's about way more than just like finding a dream job.
Yeah, it's fascinating. What's really cool about Ikigai is that it really digs into your very reason for being, what makes you you.
Right.
And how that translates into like a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
And get this, it ties into this ancient Taoist idea of effortless action.
Oh.
Wu-Wei.
Okay.
It's like finding that sweet spot where your passions and the world's needs align and everything just clicks into place.
Oh, okay. I'm already intrigued. We've got articles, research, even some personal anecdotes about Ikigai, and I'm ready to unpack it all.
Let's do it.
So let's break down these 4 dimensions that everyone keeps mentioning. First up, what you're good at.
Yeah.
Seems straightforward, right?
Yeah.
But one article pointed out how many of us are pushed to fix our weaknesses instead of really leaning into our strengths.
It's almost like we're told to be jacks of all trades, but Ikigai is like, hey, be the master of one.
Right.
Think about it. What are you naturally drawn to?
Yeah.
What do people always compliment you on? Maybe you're an amazing listener, a creative problem solver, or you can organize anything like a boss.
Oh, tell me about organizing my desk is a disaster zone.
Oh, no.
But I can plan a multi-day event with my eyes closed.
Really?
So Ikigai says that's not just a quirk, it's a clue, right?
Exactly.
It's about recognizing those inherent skills, even the ones that might not be on a traditional resume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Society often places higher value on certain skills over others.
Mm-hmm.
But Ikigai says those seemingly lesser talents are crucial too.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that diverse tapestry of abilities that make you unique.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So dimension number 2, what you love to do.
Yeah.
Now, this is where I get a little skeptical because no one loves every single task, right?
Right. It's not about unicorns and rainbows.
Right.
You won't love every single aspect of your Ikigai.
Yeah.
But the overarching theme should be something that brings you joy.
Okay.
One of the sources had this hilarious example of a YouTube creator who hates filming but loves the editing process.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So they hate being on camera but love the behind-the-scenes magic.
Mm-hmm.
Does that still count as Ikigai?
Absolutely. It's about finding creative solutions. Maybe they collaborate with someone who loves being on camera.
Right.
Or they develop a filming style that feels more authentic to them.
Yeah.
It's about acknowledging that even within passion, there will be parts that feel like work, and that's okay.
Right.
It's about finding ways to make those parts manageable.
That's a good point. We often romanticize passion as this constant state of bliss.
Yes.
But it's more nuanced than that.
It really is.
So let's move on to the 3rd dimension, what the world needs.
Okay.
This one feels big, almost intimidating.
It can be, but this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
This dimension challenges us to think beyond ourselves and consider our impact on the world.
Okay.
One article we read talked about how even seemingly mundane jobs are crucial for society to function.
Yeah, like we need people to collect the garbage, repair our leaky faucets, deliver our packages.
I love that. Yeah.
These jobs are essential even though they might not always get the recognition they deserve.
I love how the source phrased it, any job done well and with joy is valuable. It's about finding purpose and meaning in whatever work you do.
And that's where Ikigai goes beyond just finding a job you enjoy. It's about aligning your skills and passions with something that contributes to the greater good, no matter how big or small that contribution might be.
Okay, so we've covered what you're good at, what you love, and what the world needs now for the big question, what you can be paid for.
Okay.
How do we balance passion and practicality? This is where I tend to get stuck personally.
It's a common struggle.
Many people assume Ikigai means abandoning financial stability to chase your dreams.
Right.
But that's not necessarily true. Remember the YouTube creator?
Yeah.
They still need to earn a living to fuel their creative passion.
Right.
One source beautifully described money as a type of energy,
Oh,
the fuel that allows you to sustain your purpose.
So it's not about choosing passion over a paycheck. It's about finding a way to integrate them.
Exactly. It's about finding a sustainable path that allows you to pursue your passions and make a living at the same time. Now, this might not happen overnight.
Right.
You might need to explore side hustles, freelance work, or even volunteer in a field that interests you.
Right.
It's about taking those first steps towards a more fulfilling and sustainable future.
So we've got these 4 dimensions, and it's starting to make sense.
Yeah.
But one source mentioned that Ikigai is more than just the sum of these parts. Can you elaborate on that?
It's about how these 4 dimensions intersect and create a more nuanced picture. We've talked about the ingredients of Ikigai. But when they overlap, they form something even more powerful: passion, mission, vocation, and profession.
Okay.
It's like a Venn diagram,
Oh.
those overlapping circles. And you need all 4 for true Ikigai.
Hold on. Are those different from the 4 dimensions we just discussed?
Just think of it like this. The dimensions are the building blocks, and passion, mission, vocation, and profession are the structures they create when they come together.
Okay, so let's say I'm a whiz at coding. I love building websites. The world needs more user-friendly tech, and I can get paid for my coding skills. Does that mean I've found my Ikigai?
That's a great starting point. But there's a lot more to unpack.
Yeah.
We need to explore the nuances of each of these overlapping areas: passion, mission, vocation, and profession.
Okay.
And we'll do that in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we've laid out these 4 dimensions of Ikigai and how they create these overlapping circles of passion, mission, vocation, and profession.
Right.
My brain is already doing somersaults trying to picture this Venn diagram.
Yeah.
But before we get lost in the geometry, can we ground this back in reality for a second?
Yeah.
I'm sure many listeners are thinking, okay, this is fascinating, but how do I actually find MY Ikigai?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And here's the thing. Ikigai isn't something you just stumble upon one day and boom, you're done.
Right.
It's an ongoing journey, a process of discovery and refinement. It's like, remember that Taoist idea of Wu-Wei effortless action?
Yeah.
Ikigai embraces that flow, that adaptability.
Okay, hold on, because I think this is huge EE. So many self-help gurus are out there shouting, find your passion, discover your purpose, as if it's this one static thing.
Yeah.
Are you saying that's not the case with Ikigai?
Exactly. The sources we dug into emphasize that Ikigai evolves with you.
Okay.
It's not about this immense pressure to find the perfect thing right now.
Yeah.
It's about finding FFLOW as you grow, learn, experience new things your Ikigai might shift to, and that's okay.
That's a huge relief, honestly. So if I'm starting this journey feeling a bit lost in this Venn diagram of passion, mission, vocation, and profession, where do I even begin?
Yeah.
Well, I think you start by revisiting those 4 dimensions we talked about.
Yeah.
Think about what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. But go deeper than just surface-level answers.
Okay.
For example, let's say you're amazing at explaining complex topics in a way that anyone can understand. That's a valuable skill.
I wish I had that skill. Some of these research papers were dense.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. It's about recognizing those skills we might take for granted.
Right. And then ask yourself what activities light you up. What do you do that makes you lose track of time? This might not be something you're currently getting paid for,
Right.
but it's a clue.
So it could be anything from writing poetry to volunteering at an animal shelter to restoring vintage cars in your garage.
Exactly.
It's about recognizing those sparks of joy, right?
Precisely. Then think about what the world needs.
Okay.
What problems do you care about? What positive impact do you want to make? It doesn't have to be this grand world-saving mission. Maybe you're passionate about creating a more inclusive community or simply being a supportive friend.
Yeah. It's about aligning your joy with a sense of purpose.
Okay, I'm starting to see how these pieces connect. But let's be real. That 4th dimension, what you can get paid for,
Yeah.
is a big hurdle for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you turn your love for underwater basket weaving into a sustainable career?
It might not be a direct path, and that's okay. One source talked about starting small, exploring side hustles, taking on freelance projects, or even volunteering in a field that interests you.
Right.
You mentioned your event planning skills earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a way to leverage that while still working your current job. It's about creating momentum, gathering information, and testing the waters.
That feels way less daunting than quitting your job and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It's about those incremental steps towards a bigger vision.
Exactly. Remember, Ikigai is about embracing the journey, not rushing to the destination. It's about finding that Wu-Wei, that flow state where action feels effortless and aligned with your purpose.
This is making so much sense, but I think one of the biggest challenges people face is feeling overwhelmed.
Like, there are so many possibilities,
Yeah.
so many paths to explore. How do you even begin to narrow it down?
That's a valid point, and one of the sources offered a brilliant solution. Start with just one small step.
So not trying to map out my entire life plan in one go, because that's where I usually get stuck.
Instead, focus on one specific action you can take this week. Maybe it's researching different career paths, reaching out to someone who's doing work you admire, or signing up for a class to learn a new skill.
That feels so much more manageable, and it takes the pressure off having to have all the answers right away.
Exactly.
It's like dipping your toes in the water before jumping in head first.
Precisely. It's about gathering information, experimenting, and refining your direction as you go. Remember, it's not about failure. It's about gaining clarity through trial and error.
I love that reframing. It's about data collection, not setbacks.
Exactly.
And it takes the fear out of trying something new.
And as you go through this process, pay close attention to what sparks joy, what feels effortless, what puts you in that flow state. Those are the clues guiding you towards your Ikigai.
So now we're not just talking about a Venn diagram. We're talking about a treasure hunt, where the treasure is your own sense of purpose and fulfillment.
I love that analogy. And remember, like any good treasure hunt, the journey is just as important as the destination. So embrace the process, experiment, and don't be afraid to adjust course along the way. You might be surprised where your Ikigai leads you.
This is mind-blowing. I'm starting to see how Ikigai is so much more than just a buzzword. But before we get too carried away, I think we need to pause here. When we come back, we'll recap the core principles of Ikigai and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder as you continue on your journey. Okay, so we really went deep into this fascinating world of Ikigai.
We did.
This Japanese concept that's so much more than just like, find a job you love.
Yeah.
It's about uncovering like your reason for being, aligning your passions with what the world needs, and creating a life that, truly feels fulfilling.
What's been so remarkable for me is how Ikigai, despite being, rooted in Japanese culture, it really resonates with ideas from around the world.
Right.
That connection to Wu-Wei, the Taoist principle of effortless action.
Yeah.
It really highlights how this yearning for purposeful work and a life in flow is something universal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we unpacked those 4 key dimensions: what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for.
Right.
And we explored how those intersect to create these even more powerful concepts like your passion, mission, vocation, and profession.
Yeah. And one of the biggest takeaways for me is that Ikigai doesn't pressure you to find one perfect static thing.
Right.
It acknowledges that your interests change and your purpose can shift and grow along with you.
That's such a refreshing perspective. Instead of feeling like I need to have it all figured out right now,
yeah,
I can just relax into the journey knowing that my Ikigai can adapt and unfold over time.
Exactly. It's not about forcing things. It's about finding that flow, that Wu-Wei within each dimension of Ikigai. You might start with a side hustle that eventually blossoms into a fulfilling career, or maybe your volunteer work sparks a new passion that leads you down an unexpected path.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Ikigai, I want to leave you with a final thought-provoking question, something to really chew on as you continue this exploration.
Okay.
If you had to take just one small step this week to move closer to your Ikigai, even if you don't have it all figured out just yet, what would that step be?
It really can be something small, a seemingly insignificant action that sets a bigger intention in motion. Maybe it's having a conversation with someone who's doing work you admire, taking a free online course in the subject that piques your curiosity, or even just dedicating 15 minutes to journaling about what truly brings you joy.
It's about that initial spark, that first step that sets the wheels in motion. And who knows that one small action might just lead you to a life that feels more aligned with your purpose, a life that truly feels like your own unique version of Ikigai.
And remember, this journey is an ongoing conversation. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you? What step are you going to take this week? Share your insights with us on social media, and let's keep this exploration of Ikigai going together.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep that sense of wonder alive. You never know what amazing discoveries await you on the path to finding your Ikigai.